Welcome to Monk's Temple. Let us begin by arriving. Just arriving. Feel the weight of your body wherever you are sitting or lying. Feel the breath moving through you, entering and leaving without any effort on your part. For these next moments, the world outside can wait. There is nowhere else you need to be. There is nothing else you need to do. You are here, and that is enough. Today we are going to speak about something that touches every corner of your existence. Something that has the power to lift you higher than any achievement and also the power to bring you lower than any failure. We are going to speak about relationship. Now when you hear that word, your mind likely goes first to romance, to partnership, to the person you share your life with. And that is beautiful. But relationship is so much larger than that. Relationship is how you greet the stranger on the street. Relationship is how you speak to the tired cashier at the grocery store. Relationship is how you treat the family member who frustrates you most. Relationship is even how you talk to yourself in the quiet moments when no one else is watching. Your entire life is a web of relationships, and the strength of that web determines everything. And yet we are given no instruction manual for this. We stumble into relationships blindly, carrying expectations we do not even know we have, and then we wonder why we hurt so often. The Buddha, the great awakened teacher, spent his entire life studying the human heart. And he noticed something essential. He noticed that most of our suffering in relationships comes from one single misunderstanding. We believe that others should be like us. Think about the last time you felt frustrated with someone. Trace it back to its root. Was it not because they did not think the way you think? Did they not act the way you would act? Did they not see what seems so obvious to you? We ask silently, why can't you be normal? And by normal, we mean, why can't you be like me? This is the great illusion. We look at another person and we assume their mind works like ours. We assume their priorities match ours. We assume their fears and hopes and dreams are the same as ours. And when the evidence proves otherwise, we do not question our assumption. We try to change them. We try to fix them. We try to make them more like us. And this is where relationships begin to bleed. Imagine walking through a garden filled with flowers. You stop at a rose and you say, "This is beauty." Then you turn to the tulip next to it and say, "Why are you not a rose? Why are your petals shaped differently? Why do you bloom at a different time? Be a rose." This is absurd. The tulip is a tulip. It cannot be anything else. And yet this is exactly what we do to the people we love. The Buddha pointed to a simple truth that changes everything when we truly see it. The truth is difference. No two leaves on a single tree are identical. No two snowflakes falling from the same sky are the same. No two fingerprints on your own two hands match. So why would two human minds, shaped by different families, different experiences, different wounds, different joys, ever be the same? When this truth lands in your heart, something shifts. The frustration softens. The judgment quiets. Because you stop asking, "Why aren't you like me?" And you begin asking a much more beautiful question. You begin asking, "Who are you? What shaped you? What fears live in your heart? What dreams do you carry that I have never seen?" This is the beginning of understanding. And the Buddha taught that understanding is the foundation of every healthy relationship. Not love, though love is essential. Not passion, though passion has its place. Understanding. Because only understanding allows love to be wise. Only understanding prevents passion from becoming possessiveness. Understanding is the container that holds everything else together. But understanding does not appear by magic. It must be practiced. It is like a muscle that must be exercised daily. So the Buddha gave his disciples 6 principles to practice. He originally taught these to a community of monks, men from every background imaginable. Former princes and former beggars. Brilliant scholars and simple farmers. Calm men and fiery men. Imagine the potential for conflict. And yet the Buddha showed them how to live together in harmony, not by making them the same, but by teaching them how to honor their differences. The first principle is this. Treat your companion with physical kindness, with bodily kindness. The Buddha said we must express our care through our bodies, through our actions, through our hands. We are trained to believe that love means grand gestures, expensive gifts, surprise trips, dramatic declarations. And these things can be beautiful. But they are not the foundation. The foundation is built in the small moments. The hand on the shoulder when someone is tired. The cup of tea made just the way they like it. The task completed without being asked. The mess cleaned up so they do not have to face it. Physical kindness is a language older than words. A baby knows love through touch before it knows the word love. A grieving person feels comfort through an embrace more than through any sentence. Our bodies can say what our mouths cannot. I think of a carpenter I once heard about. He was not a man of many words. His wife would sometimes joke that he had forgotten how to speak. But every evening, after working with wood all day, he would come home and find her sitting, exhausted from raising their children. He would take her hands, rough from washing and cleaning, and he would rub cream into them. Slowly. Gently. Without a word. He never said he loved her. But her hands knew. Her hands knew every single day. This is the first principle. It asks nothing from you except presence. You do not need wealth. You do not need eloquence. You simply need to be willing to let your body become a servant of love. If these words are touching something in you, if this gentle exploration feels valuable, I invite you to join this community at Monk's Temple. Please take a moment to subscribe. It is a small act, a simple click, but it helps this wisdom reach others who are also searching. Thank you. Let us settle once more into this space together. Feel your breath moving through you, gentle and natural. There is no rush. There is nowhere to go. Just this moment, just this presence. We have explored the first principle together, the kindness of the hands, the small physical acts that speak love more loudly than words ever could. Today we go deeper into the teaching of the Buddha. Today we explore the second and third principles, and these take us from the body into the voice and finally into the hidden chambers of the heart. The second principle the Buddha gave is this. Treat your companions with verbal kindness. Speak to them in ways that heal rather than harm, that build rather than break. Now this seems obvious, does it not? Of course we should speak kindly. But if it were so simple, why do our tongues so often become weapons? Why do we say things to our loved ones that we would never say to a stranger? Why does the sharpest criticism so often come from the lips of those who claim to love us most? The Buddha observed something profound about human nature. He saw that we speak mostly on autopilot. Someone presses a button, and words fly out before we have taken a single breath. Words we cannot retrieve. Words that lodge in the other person's heart like tiny splinters, sometimes for years, sometimes forever. Verbal kindness is not about being fake. It is not about hiding your true feelings or pretending everything is fine when it is not. The Buddha never taught dishonesty. He taught wisdom. And wisdom means learning to pause before speaking, just for a moment, just long enough to ask a simple question. Is what I am about to say true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? If the answer to any of these is no, perhaps the words are better left unspoken. Think of your voice as an instrument, like a violin or a flute. In the hands of someone skillful, that instrument produces music that heals and uplifts. In the hands of someone careless, it produces only noise and discomfort. Every day, with every conversation, you are playing music for the people in your life. What song are you choosing? I think of a young man who worked in a busy restaurant kitchen. The head chef was known for his temper. He would scream at the cooks for small mistakes, reducing grown men to silence and shame. One evening, a new dishwasher, just a teenager, dropped an entire tray of clean plates. They shattered everywhere. The boy froze, waiting for the explosion. But the head chef did something unexpected. He walked over, knelt down, and began picking up the pieces. He said quietly, "When I was your age, I dropped things too. Let me show you how to clean this up safely." The boy later said that moment changed his life. Those kind words, spoken in a moment when harsh words were expected, became a memory he carried forever. The chef's voice had chosen healing over harm. This is the second principle. It asks us to become aware of the power we carry in our throats, in our tongues, in our ordinary words. We can wound or we can heal with every sentence. Now the Buddha gave a third principle, and he called this one the most important of all. Treat your companions with mental kindness. This is the kindness of the heart, the kindness that lives in the mind when no one else is watching. Why is this the most important? Because the mind is the source of everything. Your thoughts become your words. Your thoughts become your actions. If your mind is filled with resentment, your words will eventually leak that poison no matter how sweet you try to make them sound. If your mind is filled with judgment, your body will eventually communicate that judgment no matter how gently you try to act. Mental kindness means generating thoughts of goodwill toward others, not just when they are in front of you, but especially when they are not. It is easy to be kind to someone's face. The real practice is what happens in your mind when you think of them later, when they cannot see you, when no one is watching. Do you wish them well? Do you hope for their happiness? Or do you secretly rehearse arguments with them in your head? Do you replay old wounds and feel the anger fresh each time? The Buddha taught that the mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds you water will grow. If you water resentment, it becomes a jungle that blocks all light. If you water kindness, it becomes a grove of trees offering shade to everyone who passes. I think of a woman whose sister had betrayed her deeply over money. For years, she carried that betrayal like a stone in her chest. She thought about it every night before sleep. She rehearsed what she would say if they ever met again. Then one day, she learned her sister was ill, seriously ill, and alone. The woman sat with her anger for a long time. Then she did something she had not done in years. She closed her eyes and silently said, May you be healed. May you be at peace. She did not feel it fully at first. It felt strange on her tongue. But she kept saying it. And slowly, the stone in her chest began to dissolve. She realized that her mental kindness was not for her sister only. It was for herself. She had been poisoning her own mind for years, and kindness was the antidote. This is the third principle. It is the most important because it is the source. When your mind is kind, your words naturally become kind. Your actions naturally become kind. It flows from the inside out like water from a spring. Practice this today. When you think of someone who frustrates you, pause for one moment. Take a breath. Silently say to yourself, may you be happy. May you be peaceful. Say it even if you do not fully mean it yet. Say it as a seed you are planting. With time, it will grow. Kindness of the body. Kindness of the voice. Kindness of the mind. These three form the foundation of every healthy relationship. When these are cultivated, relationships cease to be battlegrounds and become gardens instead. Let us settle into this space once more. Feel your breath moving through you, gentle and easy. Feel the stillness beneath all the noise of your day. You are here. That is enough. We have explored three principles together. Kindness of the body, the small physical acts that speak louder than words. Kindness of the voice, the conscious choice to heal rather than harm with our speech. And kindness of the mind, the inner garden where all kindness must begin. Today we come to the fourth principle, and it is one that challenges something deep within human nature. Today we explore sharing without reservation. The Buddha taught his monks that whatever they received, whether food or shelter or simple gifts, they should share with their spiritual companions. This was not merely about fairness. It was about dissolving the illusion of separation, the belief that there is a mine and a yours. This principle is more relevant now than ever. We live in a culture that tells us to accumulate, to protect, to hoard. We are taught that security comes from having more, from building walls around what we own. And yet, despite all this accumulation, loneliness is epidemic. Depression is rampant. We have more things and less connection. The Buddha pointed to a different path. He said that true security does not come from holding on, but from opening the hand. True abundance does not come from accumulating, but from sharing. When you share without reservation, you are not losing something. You are building something. You are weaving yourself into the lives of others. Now sharing without reservation does not mean giving away everything irresponsibly. It does not mean neglecting your own needs. The Buddha taught wisdom, not foolishness. Wisdom means understanding that the things we hold on to so tightly, our possessions, our time, our knowledge, our joys, actually grow when we share them. A joy shared becomes twice the joy. A burden shared becomes half the burden. Knowledge shared becomes deeper in the one who teaches. Think of a candle flame. If I have one candle and I use it to light 100 others, does my original flame diminish? No. It remains exactly as bright. But now there are 100 flames where there was only one. The light in the world has increased without any loss to me. This is the nature of sharing. It multiplies without dividing. I think of a woman who worked in a bustling city office. Every day at lunch, she would sit alone in the cafeteria, eating her sandwich while scrolling through her phone. She felt invisible, unnoticed. One day, she noticed a new employee, a young man who looked even more lost than she felt. He sat alone, staring at his tray, not eating. On impulse, she walked over and sat down across from him. She said, "This cafeteria can feel pretty lonely, can't it?" He looked up, surprised, and then he smiled. They talked for the rest of lunch. After that, they ate together every day. Other colleagues started joining. What began as one small act of sharing her presence grew into a community. Years later, that young man told her, "You have no idea what that day meant to me. I was ready to quit. I was ready to give up. You sharing your lunch hour saved my career and maybe more." She had shared nothing but her time, her presence, her simple willingness to sit with another human being. And it changed everything. Sharing without reservation applies to more than just material things. Perhaps it applies most powerfully to the invisible things. Share your attention. When someone speaks to you, really listen. Do not half listen while planning your response. Share your presence. That is the greatest gift you can give. Share your joy. When something good happens, do not keep it to yourself. Bring it home. Say to your partner, to your child, to your friend, "Look at this beautiful thing. I wanted you to see it too." Share your struggles. Do not hide your pain behind a mask of strength. Let people in. Let them help. Sharing your vulnerability tells the other person, "I trust you. You matter." I think of an old man who lived in a small village. He was known for his garden, the most beautiful garden anyone had ever seen. People would walk past just to glimpse his flowers. One day, a child asked him, "How do you grow such beautiful flowers?" The old man smiled and said, "I give them away." He explained that every week, he cut the most beautiful blooms from his garden and walked through the village handing them to whoever needed them. To the grieving widow. To the couple celebrating an anniversary. To the child who was sick. And because he gave them away, he had to keep planting more. His garden grew not despite his giving, but because of it. The more he shared, the more abundant his garden became. This is the secret the Buddha pointed to. The hand that gives is the hand that receives. The heart that opens is the heart that fills. When we hoard, we shrink. When we share, we expand. This week, find one small thing to share. It does not have to be grand. Make an extra cup of coffee for someone. Send a message to a friend you have not spoken to in months, just to say you were thinking of them. Listen fully to someone without interrupting. Share something you learned. Share something you love. Open your hand just a little and see what happens. You might discover that in sharing, you lose nothing and gain everything. Let us arrive together once more. Feel your breath moving through you, slow and natural. Feel the weight of your body resting exactly where it is. There is nothing you need to fix in this moment. There is nothing you need to become. Just this peaceful presence. We have explored 4 principles together. Kindness of the body, the small physical acts that speak love. Kindness of the voice, the conscious choice to heal with our words. Kindness of the mind, the inner garden where all kindness begins. And sharing without reservation, the open hand that dissolves separation. Today we come to the 5th principle, and this one is about the ground beneath everything else. Today we explore virtue and the foundation of trust. The Buddha taught his disciples to be virtuous. For the monks, this meant following the monastic rules. For lay people living ordinary lives, he offered 5 simple guidelines. Refrain from taking life. Refrain from taking what is not given. Refrain from sexual misconduct. Refrain from speaking falsely. Refrain from intoxicants that cloud the mind. Now these may sound like religious commandments, but they are not. They are practical tools for building one thing that every relationship absolutely requires. That one thing is trust. Trust is the foundation of every healthy connection. Without trust, love becomes anxious. Without trust, intimacy becomes impossible. Without trust, you cannot rest. You cannot relax. You cannot be yourself. You are always watching, always guarding, always waiting for the betrayal that you fear is coming. Think of a house. You can have beautiful walls, elegant furniture, stunning artwork. But if the foundation is cracked, none of it matters. Eventually, the house will crumble. Trust is the foundation. Virtue is what keeps that foundation solid. When you refrain from taking life, you show that you are a person of compassion. You value existence itself. This creates safety. People know you will not harm them. When you refrain from stealing, you show that you respect boundaries. You honor what belongs to others. This creates security. People know their possessions and their space are safe with you. When you refrain from sexual misconduct, you show that you honor commitments. You are loyal. This creates deep trust between partners. It says, I am yours and you are mine, and this boundary is sacred. In romantic relationships, this is perhaps the most vital pillar of all. When this trust is broken, the foundation cracks, and everything built on top becomes unstable. When you refrain from speaking falsely, you show that your word means something. You are honest even when honesty is difficult. This creates clarity. People know they can believe what you say. They do not have to guess your motives or doubt your promises. When you refrain from intoxicants that cloud the mind, you show that you value presence. You want to be fully here for your life and for the people in it. You are not running from reality but meeting it with clarity. When you practice these 5 things consistently, something beautiful happens. You become predictable in the best possible way. People know who you are. They know what to expect from you. They can relax in your presence because they trust that you will not suddenly harm them, deceive them, or betray them. I think of a family who lived through a terrible storm. Not a storm of weather, but a storm of circumstance. The father lost his job. The mother's business failed. They had 3 children and no savings. It would have been easy to cut corners, to take what was not theirs, to lie to get ahead. But they did not. They showed up honestly for their lives. They told their landlords the truth about their situation. They told their children the truth in age-appropriate ways. They remained faithful to each other when stress could have pulled them apart. Years later, when the storm had passed, their children were asked what they remembered most about that difficult time. They did not remember the poverty. They remembered the safety. They remembered that even when everything else was falling apart, their parents remained the same. Trustworthy. Steady. Virtuous. That foundation carried the whole family through. I think also of a man who built a successful business. He was known throughout his industry for one thing. His word was his bond. He never promised what he could not deliver. He never lied to make a sale. He never cheated a partner or exploited an employee. When the economy crashed and businesses all around him failed, he survived. Not because he was lucky, but because people trusted him. Suppliers gave him credit. Employees worked extra hours willingly. Customers stayed loyal. His virtue had built a foundation that could not be shaken. This is the fifth principle. It asks us to live with integrity, not because someone is watching, but because integrity is the only foundation upon which lasting relationships can be built. You do not need to be perfect. No one is. The Buddha never demanded perfection. He simply asked us to practice, to try, to return again and again to these principles. When you fail, acknowledge it. Repair the damage if you can. And begin again. The point is not to never fall. The point is to keep building on the foundation of truth, of faithfulness, of respect. This week, look at your own foundation. Are you trustworthy in small things? Do your words match your actions? Do you honor your commitments? Do you respect boundaries? These small acts of virtue, practiced daily, create a fortress of trust around your relationships. And within that fortress, love can grow wild and free, because it is safe. Let us take this moment to arrive fully. Feel your breath moving through you, gentle and peaceful. Feel the stillness beneath all the movement of your thoughts. You have traveled far with us through these principles. Today we come to the sixth and final teaching. Today we explore the power of a shared horizon. The Buddha taught his monks that they must have a common goal. In the monastery, that goal was clear and unchanging. Enlightenment. Freedom from suffering. The end of the long cycle of birth and death. Every monk, no matter how different his personality, no matter how varied his background, was rowing toward the same shore. This created harmony. This created unity. When everyone moves in the same direction, the boat glides smoothly. When people pull in different directions, the boat goes nowhere but in circles. Now in your life, this principle is just as vital. It is about having a shared horizon with the people you journey with. It is about knowing, deep down, that you are moving toward the same destination, even if your paths sometimes look different. Now this does not mean you must be identical. It does not mean you must like the same music or share the same hobbies or think the same thoughts. The Buddha never taught uniformity. He taught unity within diversity. The monks were different in countless ways, but their direction was the same. In relationships, whether with a partner, with family, with close friends, having a shared horizon creates something essential. It creates meaning. It creates purpose. It creates the feeling that you are not alone in this vast world, that someone else sees what you see, that someone else is walking toward the same distant light. What is your shared horizon? For some couples, it might be raising children with love and wisdom. For others, it might be building a life of creativity and expression. For others, it might be serving something larger than themselves, their community, their faith, the world. For friends, it might be the shared commitment to grow together, to tell each other the truth, to show up for each other through every season of life. The specific goal matters less than the fact that it is shared. When you know you are walking toward the same horizon, the daily struggles become easier. The disagreements become smaller. The frustrations become manageable. Because underneath it all, you know you are on the same team. You are heading the same way. I think of two sisters who inherited their family home. One wanted to sell it and divide the money. The other wanted to keep it as a gathering place for their growing families. For months, they argued. The conflict grew so bitter that they stopped speaking. Then one day, the older sister sat down and asked herself a question. What did she really want? Not the money, but what the money represented. Security for her children. The younger sister asked herself the same question. What did she really want? Not the house itself, but what the house represented. Connection, family, roots. When they finally sat down together, not to argue, but to understand, they discovered something. They both wanted the same thing underneath. They both wanted their family to be safe and connected. They just had different ideas about how to get there. Once they saw their shared horizon, they could work together. They found a way to keep the house and the family while also providing some financial security for both. The conflict dissolved not because one won, but because they remembered they were walking toward the same light. I think also of a married couple who had drifted apart over the years. They lived in the same house, slept in the same bed, but their lives had become separate. He was consumed with work. She was consumed with their children and her own interests. They rarely talked about anything deeper than logistics. One evening, after another silent dinner, she asked him a question. What do you want, really want, before you die? He was startled. No one had asked him that in years. He thought for a long time and then said, I want to see the northern lights. I have wanted that since I was a boy. She smiled and said, I have always wanted to see them too. In that moment, a horizon appeared that they both could see. It was small, just a trip, just a dream. But it was shared. They began to plan. They talked about where they would go, when they would go, what it would feel like to stand together under that green and purple sky. That shared horizon did not solve all their problems overnight. But it gave them something to walk toward together. It reminded them that they were still companions, still heading the same way. This is the sixth principle. It asks you to look at the people in your life and ask, what are we moving toward together? If you cannot answer that question, perhaps it is time to discover it together. Talk about your deepest values. Talk about what matters most. Talk about the legacy you want to leave, the impact you want to have, the person you want to become. You might discover that your horizons are closer than you think. When you have a shared horizon, the daily frictions lose their power. You can forgive more easily because you know you are still on the same journey. You can be patient with differences because you know you are heading to the same place. The shared horizon is the North Star of relationship. When you can see it, you never truly get lost. Let us arrive completely now. Feel your breath, slow and deep. Feel your body, heavy and relaxed. Feel the space around you, open and still. You have journeyed through all 6 principles. Now we weave them together into one fabric. Now we see how they hold each other. We began with the first principle, kindness of the body. The small physical acts that speak love without words. The cup of tea made just right. The hand on the shoulder. The task completed without being asked. This is love made visible, love made tangible. It reminds us that relationships are not just in the heart or in the mind. They are in the hands, in the feet, in the body, showing up day after day. We explored the second principle, kindness of the voice. The conscious choice to speak in ways that heal rather than harm. The pause before speaking. The question, is it true, is it helpful, is it kind? This reminds us that our words have power, that we create worlds with every sentence, that we can build or destroy with the same tongue. We sat with the third principle, kindness of the mind, which the Buddha called the most important. The inner garden where all kindness begins. The practice of wishing others well even when they are not watching, even when they have hurt us. This reminds us that relationships are not just about behavior. They are about intention. They are about the heart behind the action. We opened our hands with the fourth principle, sharing without reservation. The recognition that joy shared multiplies, that burden shared divides, that the open hand receives more than the closed fist ever could. This reminds us that we are not separate, that giving and receiving are the same movement, that abundance flows through open channels. We grounded ourselves in the fifth principle, virtue and trust. The foundation that cannot be shaken. The commitment to honesty, to faithfulness, to respect, to presence. This reminds us that love needs safety to grow, that trust is built slowly through countless small acts of integrity, that a single betrayal can crack what took years to build. And finally we looked toward the sixth principle, the shared horizon. The common goal that gives direction and meaning. The North Star that guides us when the path is unclear. This reminds us that we are companions on a journey, that we walk toward the same light, that even when we stumble together toward the same dawn. Now see how these six principles hold each other. Without physical kindness, the shared horizon becomes just an idea, never made real. Without verbal kindness, trust cannot survive because words wound and words heal. Without mental kindness, all outward kindness becomes hollow performance. Without sharing, connection withers from lack of nourishment. Without virtue, the foundation cracks and everything falls. Without a shared horizon, we wander without direction, lost in the small conflicts of each day. The Buddha gave these principles to his monks not as commandments to obey, but as tools to use. They are not punishments. They are not burdens. They are liberations. They free us from the prison of our own selfishness. They free us from the loneliness of separation. They free us from the suffering of broken relationships. I think of a great river. Each principle is like a stream flowing into that river. Alone, each stream is small, easily blocked, easily dried. But together, they become a mighty current that can carve through mountains, that can nourish entire civilizations. Your relationships are that river. Let these six principles flow into them. Let them become the current that carries you home. I think also of a spider's web, delicate and strong. Each strand alone could be broken by a single breath. But woven together, they catch the morning dew, they hold against the wind, they support the spider's entire world. Your relationships are that web. Each principle is a strand. Woven together, they create something that can hold the weight of a lifetime. You have received these teachings now. They are yours. But receiving them is not enough. A seed received but never planted bears no fruit. A tool received but never used gathers dust. A map received but never followed leads nowhere. So take these principles into your life today. Not next week. Not when conditions are perfect. Today. In the next interaction you have. With the next person you meet. With the person sitting next to you right now. Practice physical kindness. Do one small thing for someone without being asked. Practice verbal kindness. Speak one sentence that heals instead of harms. Practice mental kindness. Silently wish one person well, even someone difficult. Practice sharing. Give something, anything, your time, your attention, your presence. Practice virtue. Keep one promise, even a small one. Be honest in one thing. Look for the shared horizon. Ask someone what they are moving toward. Tell them what you are moving toward. These are small practices. But small practices, repeated daily, become habits. Habits become character. Character becomes destiny. This is how you change your life. This is how you change your relationships. This is how you change your world. The Buddha taught these principles over 2,000 years ago. They have not aged. They have not expired. They are as fresh today as the moment they were first spoken because they point to something eternal in the human heart. The heart that wants to love. The heart that wants to be loved. The heart that wants to connect. The heart that wants to come home. You are that heart. You have always been that heart. These principles simply show you the way. Thank you for walking this path with me at Monk's Temple. Thank you for your presence, your attention, your willingness to explore. May your relationships bloom like flowers in spring. May your heart be at peace. May you be happy. May you be free. Go well, dear friend. Until we meet again. Let us settle into this space once more. Feel your breath moving through you, gentle and natural. Feel the stillness that has been here all along, waiting for you to notice it. You have traveled far through these 6 principles. Now we go deeper into the soil from which they all grow. Today we explore the practice of presence. The Buddha taught that all 6 principles, physical kindness, verbal kindness, mental kindness, sharing, virtue, and shared horizon, these are not separate practices. They are all expressions of one thing. They are expressions of presence. They are what happens when you show up fully for another human being. What do I mean by presence? I mean the quality of being completely here, right now, with whoever is in front of you. Not somewhere else. Not thinking about the past. Not planning for the future. Not scrolling through your phone. Not half listening while your mind wanders. Just here. Just now. Just with them. This may sound simple, and it is. But simple does not mean easy. In fact, presence may be the most difficult thing you ever practice. Because your mind has been trained for a lifetime to be anywhere but here. Your mind has been trained to worry, to plan, to judge, to compare, to escape. Being present requires you to undo all that training. It requires you to come home to the moment again and again and again. Think of presence as the container that holds all 6 principles. Without presence, physical kindness becomes just going through the motions. You hug someone but your mind is elsewhere. The hug is empty. Without presence, verbal kindness becomes just polite words. You say the right thing but your heart is not in it. The words are hollow. Without presence, mental kindness is nearly impossible because you cannot wish someone well if you are not even aware they are there. Presence is the foundation. Presence is the door. Presence is what transforms ordinary actions into acts of love. I think of a father and his young daughter. Every evening, she would wait by the door for him to come home from work. And every evening, he would walk in, still thinking about his meetings, his deadlines, his stress. He would kiss her forehead without really seeing her and then disappear into his study. One evening, she took his face in her small hands and said, "Daddy, look at me." He looked. Really looked. He saw her eyes, her smile, the tiny freckles on her nose. She said, "Now you see me." That moment broke something open in him. He realized he had been home every night but never really present. From that day, he made a practice. Before entering his house, he would stand at the door for one breath and let go of his work. He would walk in and give his daughter not just his body, but his full attention. That small practice of presence transformed their relationship. Presence is what allows you to truly see another person. Not your idea of them. Not your memory of them. Not your hope for them. But them, right now, in this moment. And when you truly see someone, something miraculous happens. They feel seen. And feeling seen is one of the deepest needs of the human heart. Think of the last time someone really listened to you. Not just heard your words while waiting for their turn to speak, but really listened, with their whole attention. How did that feel? Did you not feel valued? Did you not feel loved? That is the power of presence. It is love in its purest form. Presence is also what allows you to see yourself. When you are present, you notice your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own reactions. You see the anger rising before it becomes words. You feel the tenderness before you know how to express it. You become aware of the patterns that have been running your relationships for years. And in that awareness, change becomes possible. I think of a woman who struggled with her teenage son. Everything he did irritated her. The way he left his shoes, the way he spoke, the way he looked at his phone. They fought constantly. One day, after another argument, she sat alone and tried something new. She just sat quietly and breathed. She did not think about him. She did not replay the fight. She just breathed and paid attention to her own body. And there, in the stillness, she noticed something. She noticed a tightness in her chest. She noticed a fear. And underneath the fear, she noticed love, fierce and protective, worried that he was making mistakes that would hurt him. She realized her anger was just love wearing a mask. The next time he walked in, she did not react to his shoes. She just looked at him, really looked, and saw the boy she still loved underneath the teenager he was becoming. He felt the difference in her gaze. Something shifted between them. Presence had opened a door. This is the practice. It is simple but not easy. You will forget. You will get lost in your thoughts. You will react on autopilot. This is not failure. This is training. Every time you notice you have been absent, you have just become present again. That moment of noticing is a victory. Celebrate it. Then return. Today, try this. Choose one person you will encounter and decide that for just 5 minutes, you will be fully present with them. Not half present. Fully. Look at them. Listen to them. Notice them. Let nothing else exist for those 5 minutes. See what happens. You might discover that 5 minutes of real presence is worth more than 5 hours of distracted togetherness. Presence is the soil. All 6 principles grow from it. Water this soil daily, and your relationships will bloom beyond anything you can imagine. Let us arrive together in this moment. Feel your breath moving through you, steady and calm. Feel the weight of your body resting here. Whatever has happened before this moment is gone. Whatever will happen after is not yet here. There is only now. And in this now, you are safe. We have explored the 6 principles. We have explored the presence that holds them. Today we explore something essential, something that every relationship needs because every relationship, without exception, will face it. Today we explore the art of repair. The Buddha taught that all things are impermanent. All things change. All things break sometimes. This includes relationships. No matter how skillfully you practice these principles, there will be moments when you forget. There will be moments when your kindness fails. There will be moments when your words wound. There will be moments when your mind fills with resentment instead of goodwill. There will be moments when you withhold instead of share. There will be moments when your virtue slips. There will be moments when you lose sight of the shared horizon. This is not failure. This is being human. The question is not whether you will make mistakes in your relationships. You will. We all do. The question is what you do after. This is the art of repair. It is the ability to acknowledge when you have caused harm and to take responsibility for mending what has been broken. It is the willingness to say, I was wrong. I am sorry. What can I do to make this right? Now, repair is not easy. The ego resists it. The ego wants to be right. The ego wants to defend. The ego wants to explain why the other person deserved your harsh words or your coldness. But the heart knows something different. The heart knows that connection is more important than being right. The heart knows that a relationship repaired can become stronger than one that never broke. Think of a broken bone. When it heals properly, the place where it broke becomes the strongest part. The same is true for relationships. When you repair a rupture with honesty and care, the relationship develops a kind of strength it did not have before. It becomes resilient. It becomes tested. It becomes real. The Buddha taught that holding on to guilt is useless. Guilt is just another form of self-absorption. What matters is not how bad you feel about what you did. What matters is what you do next. Do you learn? Do you change? Do you make amends? I think of 2 friends who had known each other since childhood. They had been through everything together: school, first loves, losses, celebrations. Then one said something cruel in a moment of anger. Words that could not be taken back. The other friend stopped speaking to him. Weeks passed. Months passed. The friendship that had lasted decades seemed over. The one who had spoken cruelly was consumed with shame. He wanted to apologize, but he was afraid. Afraid of being rejected. Afraid of making it worse. Afraid of facing what he had done. One night, he could not sleep. He sat at his kitchen table and wrote a letter. Not a long letter. Not a letter full of excuses. Just a simple letter that said, "I was wrong. I hurt you. There is no excuse. I am deeply sorry. If you ever want to talk, I will be here. If you never want to talk, I understand. I just needed you to know that I know I failed you." He mailed it the next morning with no expectation of reply. 3 weeks later, his phone rang. It was his friend. They talked for hours. Not about what happened, not directly. They talked about old times, about their lives now. And somewhere in that conversation, the repair happened. Not through words about the wound, but through the willingness to be in contact again. Years later, the friend who had been hurt said, "Your letter mattered. It did not fix everything. But it opened the door. I needed to know you saw what you did. I needed to know you cared. Your letter gave me that." This is the art of repair. It is not about having the perfect words. It is about having the courage to reach out. It is about admitting that you are human, that you fail, that you want to try again. I think also of a couple who had been married for 30 years. They rarely fought, but they had also drifted into a kind of polite distance. One evening, after another dinner of near silence, the husband said something he had never said before. He said, "I feel like I have been failing you. I do not know exactly how. But I feel it. I want to do better. Will you help me?" The wife looked at him for a long moment. Then she began to cry. She had been feeling the same distance but had assumed he did not care. His simple admission, his vulnerability, his willingness to repair something he could not even name, it broke through the wall between them. They talked for hours that night. They talked about things they had not spoken of in years. The repair began not because there was a specific wound to fix, but because there was a willingness to reconnect. This is the art of repair. It requires humility. It requires courage. It requires letting go of the need to be right. It requires trusting that the relationship is more important than your pride. If you have caused harm, if you have broken trust, if you have wounded someone with your words or your actions, today is the day to begin repair. Not with a grand speech. Not with a demand for forgiveness. Just with a simple, honest acknowledgement. I was wrong. I am sorry. I want to do better. Say it and then wait. Let the other person have their response. Let them have their time. Repair cannot be forced. It can only be offered. And if someone comes to you seeking repair, receive them with whatever openness you can find. You do not have to forget the hurt. You do not have to trust immediately. But you can open the door, just a crack, and see what happens. The art of repair is the art of love continuing. It is what allows relationships to survive the inevitable storms. Practice it well. Let us arrive one last time. Feel your breath, soft and peaceful. Feel your body, heavy with rest. Feel the stillness that has been your companion through all these words. You are here. You have always been here. You have simply been remembering. We have traveled far together. We have explored 6 principles taught by the Buddha for healthy relationships. Kindness of the body, the small physical acts that speak love. Kindness of the voice, the conscious choice to heal with words. Kindness of the mind, the inner garden where all kindness begins. Sharing without reservation, the open hand that dissolves separation. Virtue and trust, the foundation that cannot be shaken. The shared horizon, the North Star that gives direction. We have explored presence, the soil from which all these principles grow. We have explored repair, the art of mending what breaks, because all relationships break sometimes. That is not failure. That is being human. Now we come to the end. But the end is really a beginning. These principles are not meant to stay here on this page, in these words. They are meant to walk with you. They are meant to live in your hands, in your voice, in your heart. They are meant to shape your next conversation, your next meal with family, your next moment of conflict, your next opportunity to love. You do not need to practice all 6 perfectly. No one can. Choose one. Just one. Practice physical kindness today. Hold the door. Make the tea. Touch someone gently. Just one. See what happens tomorrow. Perhaps you add another. This is how transformation happens. Not in leaps, but in steps. Not in perfection, but in practice. The Buddha once said that if you search the entire world, you will not find anyone more worthy of love than the beings you find right here, right now, in your own life. Your partner. Your parent. Your child. Your friend. Your colleague. Even the difficult ones. Especially the difficult ones. They are your teachers. They are your path. They are your practice. I think of a man who climbed mountains his whole life. He summited the highest peaks on earth. When he was old and could no longer climb, someone asked him what his greatest adventure had been. He did not name a mountain. He said, coming home. Coming home to the same woman for 50 years. That has been the greatest adventure of all. The highest peak, the most dangerous climb, the most rewarding summit, is the journey into another human heart, and the journey of letting them into yours. You have everything you need for this adventure. These 6 principles are your map. Your breath is your compass. Your heart is your guide. Go well, dear friend. May your relationships bloom. May your kindness grow. May you find peace in connection and freedom in love. Monk's Temple is always here for you. Return whenever you need. Thank you for walking this path. Thank you for your presence. Until we meet again.